Turn one soul ring.
So, Riley, you texted the group earlier today saying that Arena is coming to Android at the end of the month. Is that that's like a for sure thing?
Yeah, I read an announcement that Wizards put out today talking about early access Androids. Basically, they released a list of specs that your phone needs to meet to be able to run the program,
Right.
which is pretty janky. But it sounds
Of
like
course.
like the preliminary version of Magic on your Android phone is going to be available on the 28th of January.
Okay.
Sounds like they're still going through like a testing thing, like get it out in
Yeah.
some people's hands.
So fortunately, I've got an S10 and that meets the specs. So I'm gonna try it out and see if I can cook some eggs.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, you mentioned that that your phone is probably gonna melt.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I've played Magic Arena on my Mac a few times, and every time it seems to want to take off. Like it sounds like a jet engine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and just don't have it on your lap either, because it's probably gonna like ruin your testicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like you need a pretty some of their it's just like current phones.
Which is funny because I had I just updated my plan and I got a new plan, but there was some skerfliffling with the new phone, and I just decided to keep my old phone because there's nothing wrong with it. I have an iPhone 8, I think, which is probably too old to run this. But if I wanted to just get a new phone, the way they do it now is you just finance the phone, but you don't pay interest. That's the way that Rogers is doing it. And I imagine that other wireless companies in Canada are doing it that way too. But might be a reason for me to get a new phone. We'll have to see. Because Riley, you also said that the announcement said that it'll be coming to iOS later this year, later in 2021.
Yeah, later in the year. So whatever that means. Plus, it also mentioned that some Androids will be coming. It will be coming to some Androids later in the year as well. So it sounds like it's pretty much like a beta version of the app that's going to be only available to certain Androids.
Yeah.
And is it like like Hearthstone, which also started out on desktop, and then they incorporated wireless devices in it. Is it going to be cross-platform playable?
Yeah, so you use the same account, have access to the same cards, kind of thing.
Okay, that's what I thought. I assumed as much, but yeah, that's great. And this is what we expected. I think it was only a matter of time. Not having played Arena, I've watched a lot of it online. I've watched streamers and things like that. But you guys have played it, and do you have any concerns with like screen size? And seeing and being able to see everything and being able to do everything and kind of and the game being able to keep track of everything on a visible scale.
Yeah,
I think there's definitely a way to do it, because playing Hearthstone and Runeterra on a mobile device, obviously they're going to do the thing where you can kind of see a little bit of your hand, and when you click on it, it'll bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you know the arts of cards, it'll be a lot easier for you, because then you can just see the photo there, and I bet you when you click on the card, then it'll bring up the bigger one that will actually show.
Yeah, just a lot of
there.
collapsible things like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the way they do counters has been improved, and the way they're showing abilities, there's just little squares that they add to the bottom of the card that kind of show what abilities it has and stuff. So, but it'll be interesting to see when people make a bunch of tokens.
That's my biggest concern.
You have
a big messy battlefield is probably going to be the most difficult thing to manage on the phone. I mean, it's hard enough to manage on the computer, dealing with all these attacks and all these blocks. If both players have a huge battlefield and you have to assign attackers and blockers, and you're roping on assigning attackers and blockers, it's going to be tough on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, regardless, I think it's good news, and I'm excited, and I think that's a good a time as any to start the show. Welcome, everyone, listeners. I'm talking to you. This is Turn One Soul Ring. I'm Kevin.
Hey, I'm Eric.
And I'm Riley.
And today on the show, we're revisiting a topic we covered last year around this time. We're going to be taking a look back at the products and sets that were released for Magic in 2020, among some other little Magic related things. We'll also be talking about some of our favorites and not so favorites and everything in between. But before we get to any of that, Eric, how can listeners find us out there on the web?
There's a few ways. On Instagram at Turbo and Soul Ring, the podcast. You can also get in touch with us directly. Turbo and Soul Ring, the podcast at gmail.com. We're throwing everything on YouTube to find us the best way there. Turbo and Soul Ring, the podcast. Search us up. And if you really like our stuff, we have a Patreon. So go check out our Patreon. It helps us do this kind of thing. So patreon.com/Turbo and Soul Ring.
Yes, and like email is great, but if you, I think the fastest way, I was going to say the best, but the fastest way to get a response from us is if you have Instagram and you use Instagram to slide into those DMs, or commenting is great, but the DMs if you want to keep it on the DL, you know what I mean? So, anyways, this was a big year for Magic in general and Commander in particular. This was the year of Commander, if we can remember back to January of, well, it was more like December or November of last year when they started making announcements for all the fun Commander stuff that we would get. But, this was also a rough year for most of us in one way or another because of the global pandemic that we're all still living through. And because of that, we've all had to find new and different ways to play Magic, whether that's been in the physical or digital realm. We've all had to make adjustments, I think, no matter where you live. But with all that being said, it does seem like Magic has continued to increase in popularity this past year. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how much more popular the game becomes when all the public restrictions are lifted. Like we've gotten all these new cards, we've gotten, and we haven't, I think a lot of us haven't had an opportunity to really test them out, and all this time where we haven't been able to play, especially paper Magic, especially Commander, we've all been, a lot of us have been brewing this whole time, and I think it's going to be so interesting to I think it's going to feel like a different format in some ways when we finally get to go out and play Magic again. That being said, I don't think it's going to be for several more months. Don't get me wrong, but it's just amazing how Magic has continued to grow in popularity during this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wonder, going to, when it reopens, if we go to a modern night, how many people are going to have, I've been updating my deck throughout all this, and then how many people, I'm playing something circa early 2020.
Yeah.
It's I'm still playing Tron. I don't...
Yeah.
I totally missed Companion, so that's it for me.
What's Companion?
Well, it's certainly not what's written on the card.
I am definitely looking forward to the day that I can go back to my LGS and play a draft or play some Commander. I miss
absolutely.
That a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely miss Wednesday night Commander. That was sort of my jam. I very much miss going out to the LGS, not having to make any plans, and whoever's there, you play with them. That was a very nice feeling.
Oh, yeah.
But we're just gonna get started here, and we're going to take a trip back in time to the pre-pandemic era of January 2020, and mostly we're going to be going through the Magic releases of last year at this point in chronological order. But we thought it was best to just right up top, we're going to start with Year of the Rat Secret Lair, and we're also going to kind of just bunch all the secret layers together. We're going to start off on a bad note, as Eric put it before we started recording. That being said, not all the secret layers were bad. I think there are some issues with the secret layers, and I think we've I think listeners know how we all feel about the secret layer product by this point. But starting off with the Year of the Rat, some positives, and I think, Riley, this is one of the secret layers that you actually picked up, right?
Yeah, this was the first secret layer that really piqued my interest. I was actually around that time trying to build a mono black rat deck for Commander, and I needed a copy of Marrow-Gnar. Yeah. I needed a copy, and she was in the secret layer, so I figured, hey, this would be the perfect opportunity to pick this up and check it out. And it was also the last secret layer that I picked up. So
first and last.
Yeah, I was not terribly impressed with the quality of the product. I loved the alternate art. It was Year of the Rat themed art. And I think it was Ink Eyes had like this cool kind of like wispy comic book style art.
Yeah. It's like a manga art.
Yeah.
Manga
It
style.
was really cool. And unfortunately, Wizards came through with their foiling process and gave me some Pringles.
Yeah.
And then there was a faint horizontal scratch along like kind of the center point of all of my cards.
Yeah, like a printer wheel or something.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I remember seeing those when you got them.
Yeah, I was not happy with it, and Eric had asked me before the show if I had contacted Wizards and tried to get a replacement, but honestly, looking into it, I was just kind of disheartened by the whole process, and felt like it would be more of a hassle to go down that route, anyways. So
right. Well, the secret layer, Year of the Rat, despite the issues, I do like that they gave like multiples of rat colonies, the multiples of that card. I like that kind of thing, and I would like to see more of that, both from Secret Lair and Magic specialty products in general. Just ways to help, just give players an opportunity to build the decks that they want to build by, I guess, buying singles directly from Wizards. It's like how did you guys ever get the Lego catalog, and you could mail order Lego back in this would have been in like the 90s, and you could probably still do this on Lego's website, but you can order just individual pieces, but you can also order multiples of those pieces. So like if you wanted to build like an all red Millennium Falcon, you could do that. But nice. Anyways, I digress. So I'll just quickly go through. I'll just quickly like bullet point the secret layers that we got in this past year, and we can talk about them a little bit. Any that we want to. So Year of the Rat, we mentioned that. Then we got Theros Stargazing. That was the Theros gods. Then we got International Women's Day, which was 5 legendary creatures that are also ladies. Then we got Thalia, Beyond the Hell Vault. Then we got the Godzilla Lands. Then we got Summer Super Drop, and I can't even get into what that one was. There's so much there. Then we got Prime Slime. Then we got Every Dog Has Its Day, and I do believe that was the first time you could choose foil or non-foil. Then we got Happy Yargle Day in September. I did not know about that. Then we got Showcase Zendikar Revisited. Also, no idea that was going on. Then we got Secret Lair, The Walking Dead. That's pretty polarizing. Then we got Extra Life in November, and I do believe that was the last one of 2020.
There was the Secretversary, which was December 2020.
That's right. Yes, I forgot about that last one. And what was that exactly?
It had Bob Ross lands.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Bob Ross. Had the squirrels. There was the Box of Rocks. It had the really cool Seth MacKinnon one.
Absolutely.
And then the metal
Party
posters.
Hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Party Hard, Shred Harder.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I did kind of want, but I did not end up picking up.
Yeah, me too. And that kind of sums up Secret Lair for me. Is I kind of want it, but I don't end up picking it up, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and I felt that way about the one from last year, the Serum Visions, that one that you bought last year, and also the one with the playset of the lightning bolts. I really like the playset ones, like the Thalia, like giving people an opportunity to buy cool foil or non-foil alternate art play sets of format staples that they're going to use. I'd like to see more of that, even if they're not play sets that I want to purchase. There are many players that do want to purchase them, but Yeah, like the International Women's Day, like that was one that I wanted to pick up, and it was just for the Narset to, like bling out my Narset deck, but the shipping to Canada is even kind of exorbitant. Like you're paying such a premium for these cards, and it's nice now that you can choose non-foil, because after the experience that you both have had with the curling. And after a year of keeping them in binders and in boulders, and they still have a curl to them, you guys know I love foils, but I just can't in good conscience buy a product like that if I don't have some kind of guarantee that eventually the foil is going to disappear. And I think a year should be enough time to get rid of it if you're keeping it under like that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I definitely like it, but I still feel that like I really wanted, at the time, obviously was playing Death Shadow, which I was using Serum Visions in. I'm like, sweet, I can use these really cool arts in my Death Shadow deck in Modern. I may have to like, keep these in a boulder for a month or two, but then they should still like flatten out, because I do have other foils that obviously curl, but then they flatten out.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the case with these damn things. Like,
yeah, and that's also what I'm worried about with the Commander Legends foils. Because they seem to be like, that's some of the worst curling I've seen since. Oh, it's probably worse than like Amonkhet or Hour of Devastation. So yeah, it just doesn't create a lot of product confidence, and
because you're paying a premium for this stuff as well.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it's not like these cards themselves, like Serum Visions. It's like $1 card.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm paying the extra money for these really cool arts in foil, but now I have a freaking Pringle. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What's the deal with this?
Absolutely. So, something that, and I may be jumping ahead here, but something that I think was, more of a slap in the face than even the Walking Dead Secret Lair was the Secret Lair Ultimate Edition, which wasn't in the list that I just outlined, and I just took that off of Wizards' official online store, and this was because that was a product that was just for local game stores, but it was very sparse, and it was about the cost of Commander Anthology 2, not really.
A little bit more,
just a touch more, and it just sucked. It just sucked, and now all this time has passed, and we know that we're getting a reprint of the enemy fetch lands in Modern Horizons 2 this upcoming summer. And as much as I'd like to have seen fetch lands in $5 packs, they're going to be in $10 packs, and that's fine. That's better than them being in a $300 or $400 case. Yeah. But I don't know, like they're making these secret layers, and they're making tons of money off of them. I don't think they'd be leaving that much money off the table if they did like a fetch land secret lair where each that you do 10, each one is a play set of each fetch land, all 10 fetch lands, both, enemy and allied, and they're whatever. I don't know how much you want to charge for each one. I know what I would charge, but it's, they would never accept it. But then you do like a super drop, and you can buy all of them, and then I don't know, keep giving people stained glass planeswalkers from War of the Spark. I don't care, but just do something like that. Like that's such an easier pill to swallow, because like, going back to what I said about the play sets, like you'd have to buy like 4 Secret Lair Ultimate Editions. Like that's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a full playset of enemy fetch lands. So yeah, I just think I think that this was worse than the Walking Dead Secret Lair, because these are format staples. People need these to play Modern. People need these to play other constructed formats. They don't need them to play Commander, but they help. And the Walking Dead cards, they're not format staples. They're cool and they're unique, but I think this was more of a slap in the face, and I think this was the Secret Lair product that I had the most disdain for, and also because they tried to package it as like for the LGSs, but I think the LGS that probably has the I want to say like most prestigious WPN status in our city, I think they got like half a dozen of them. So, anyways, we can move on to a different secret layer product, but I just think this one was it just sucked.
Well, the crazy thing about that one, and it's called an ultimate secret layer, is that product wasn't really a secret layer at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like all the other secret layers that we see how they make them and produce them and how they're kind of sold, this ultimate secret layer, the ultimate one, wasn't done the same way.
Mm-hmm.
No.
They're just like, it's ultimate because it costs $300.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think they tried to distinguish it by calling it Ultimate Edition, trying to distinguish it from the rest of the secret layer line.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Just don't call it secret layer.
Yeah, you're telling me like it's a totally different distribution model, and
and
just another weird premium way of buying 5 pieces of cardboard.
And they would have. Well, don't forget about the display box because you can display them or display other cards.
That's true. Yeah,
but they would have made so much more money if they would have just done it as a secret layer and just did a print to order. Because even at the time, you do the math on the price of fetch lands, and like $300 for all 5 fetch lands at that time was a pretty good price. But it's just that's not what we mean when we talk about reprints.
Yeah, like you were still saving a little bit of money buying all 5 that way, but it's like still doesn't seem worth it. People want to get them cheaper, and it's like for people that are actually getting fetch lands, they maybe have a play set of 1 or 2 of them already. Like
they don't want one of each.
They
want 4 of a couple,
like
yeah, exactly. So it's just it's just silliness.
And then again, they were like, oh yeah, I know we're like cutting out LGSs by selling the secret layers the way we do, so let's make the most expensive one that's super limited in stock go through the LGS. Hey, we're doing something. Like
yeah. It just seemed like it just sucked. So should we do you guys want to talk about the Walking Dead secret layer?
I mean, we're talking about all this other stuff. I mean, like the one thing about the Wizards said however many years ago, we're never going to print mechanically unique cards.
Yeah,
in like a certain special product or anything. And then here we are with Secret Layer and The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I think
maybe the only thing that I could take away from it is maybe this is kind of representative of what they'll do with the reserve list one day.
Exactly.
They'll just take back their word.
Yeah, and like, and that doesn't have to even be like you could do like functional reprints. I know that as far as the reserve list is concerned, that it doesn't allow for that. But if they can do this, then they can do that. So yeah, I think if there is a silver lining here, and especially for what we can expect with the cross IP products that we're going to see in 2021 and beyond, I think if there is a silver lining, that's something that we can hope for.
I don't know what I'm more frustrated about. Whether Walking Dead being black bordered and legal in Legacy and Vintage is frustrating, or the fact that My Little Pony is not black bordered and legal in Vintage and Legacy. Because man, I'd love to crush somebody with like a My Little Pony or like a Transformer.
Or the Transformers. Totally. Yeah. It's like where's the line, or like the uncards. Like if they're just gonna do this, then and that's the nice thing about Commander is, especially during these times when we're not going and playing in sanctioned events, if we're just doing webcam magic, if we want to play, no rules and play with uncards, play with silver bordered cards, play with no ban list, play with companion the way it used to be, we can do that.
Sure. Yeah. That's rule 0. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think so far, and we don't really know, I think we would have seen these commanders a lot more if we were going out into the wild and playing commander. And we probably will when things open back up again, and things kind of start to get back to normal. Maybe in the summertime, maybe this time next year. I don't know, but none of these commanders from the Walking Dead Secret Lair seem to be insanely powerful. They're not, they're not Narset, or they're not, they're not Marin, or they're not. I don't know, like pick any, like tier, even, like tier 3 commander. I don't think I don't think they have that power level. I mean, that doesn't really make me feel good about what we can expect in the future. But if it's any indication of Wizards being careful, I think that's a good thing. But they don't seem to have any rhyme or reason to the products that they create, or the quality of those products. So it's really hard to get too attached or have too much faith in anything that they do.
Well, I just hope that they learn from it, because there's a lot of community backlash.
Mm-hmm.
And that they don't, print these functionally unique, like non-magic characters into Secret Lair products. Just in general. And it should have been silver bordered. That's kind of the end of the line.
Yeah, it should have been. And something I'd like to see more of is, maybe a couple times a year. Remember when Unsanctioned came out, and there was that time period where you could play uncards, or was it just legendary uncards?
It was for unstable. They made, I think they made just the legendaries legal. Right.
So for a period of time, and that was fun. Like, that was fun to go to game stores and somebody has like an uncommander. Like, that was fun. And, do that a couple of times a year. Do sanctioned events with these kind of cards, and then people won't get so pissed off. It'll be a positive thing instead of a negative thing. Because this thing sold well. It's not like it didn't sell well. And I thought about buying one just so I would have the cards, because how else am I going to get these cards? Like, I fall victim to the FOMO thing just as much as everybody else. So,
I think it was like, I don't, this is just going off memory, but I think it was like the best selling of all of them.
Yeah. I'm sure it's up there. I do remember hearing something like that. And of course, like, I'm not surprised. But people, and I'm sure many people that bought it were the same people that, were railing against it. And even someone like me who didn't, I don't know, like, I just didn't think it was a big deal because I didn't think they were super competitive. But I still thought about buying one, and I'd be much more outraged, and I probably will be in the future when they do print, functionally unique cards that you can only get in Secret Lair that are quite powerful as commanders or as anything else.
Yeah, like a Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it goes back into your hand instead of shuffled into your library.
Yeah, and it costs 2 mana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And 1 in a blue too. It's not like it's 2 blue or anything. It's not going to be restrictive.
One little tidbit I just looked up quickly. So, according to the data, like, the Walking Dead was the best-selling Secret Lair to date when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, according to the data, it's not enfranchised Magic players stockpiling these. A, most of the sales involved 1 to 2 copies. B, compared to other drops, it had the most customers new to Secret Lair and MTG. And C, according to their customer outreach, for many, it was the first MTG cards they owned.
Interesting. Weird. It's all those Walking Dead fans. They wanted Rick. Was Carl one of them? Carl. No, Carl wasn't one. It was Rick, Glenn,
Michonne,
Negan, and Daryl.
Yeah,
Daryl's.
Oh, and then there was a 6th card. It was the Bat.
Right. Yeah. Lucille. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that show has been on so long, and I still watch it. Good Lord.
I've never watched an episode.
It's
I think
fine.
I watched like the first season.
It's fine.
My one coworker said it's some of the best TV and also some of the worst TV that you can watch. Like,
yeah, I think
some of the stuff is really good, but then sometimes it just like really misses the boat.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think that's probably the best review I've heard of The Walking Dead in like 10 years, which is how long the show has been on.
One little more thing about Secret Lairs, just to finish it off.
Yeah, let's put a cherry on top of this.
Put a cherry on top. We'll say something like the art on a lot of this stuff is really cool. I'm glad they're doing that.
Oh, it's
neat
beautiful.
to see a lot of these things.
Oh, and the Bob Ross lands? Come on.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So cool. There have been, minus the Ultimate, 32 of these, including when they first started in December 2019. So pretty much in the span of a year, 32 separate secret drop things that you could buy.
Yeah.
It's like one a week.
Yeah, just let that sink in and think about a year from now. Think about 5 years from now. Think about the person that's collected every single one of them, and when they sell that collection. My goodness. And it's sealed. It's sealed, and it's all sealed. It's so curly. It's so curly.
So curly and sealed.
Yeah, that's a big pill to swallow. Yeah. And they'll just keep doing it as long as it's successful. It's just too bad.
People keep buying it. They'll keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So let's move on to the first standard set release of 2020, and it was Theros Beyond Death, which was, if I'm not mistaken, the last pre-release that any of the three of us attended physically.
Yeah.
And I remember this set as kind of a dud power level wise, except for Uro, of course. But I think that was kind of more due to the set coming out after Eldraine, which was kind of overpowered. Maybe not overpowered, but it seemed more powerful.
Eldraine was definitely a very powerful set. There's a lot of really cool things in there.
Yeah.
Like the Planeswalkers just really didn't hit the note. Everyone thought Ashiok was going to be crazy and just kind of was
Ashiok
all right.
Like the thing is like Ashiok is a strong Planeswalker, but it's nowhere near the level of Oko, because Oko is easily the strongest Planeswalker that's ever been printed. So like to compare Theros to Eldraine it's like you're in a different game. It's a whole different level. But Theros
like
was
in
still
standard, Ashiok was basically
set.
like your control deck finisher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember the draft experience was black was really good.
Black was very good.
Yeah, black, white. Well, any combination of black was pretty good. But yeah, it was pretty fun. This is where we got to see Escape as a mechanic.
Yeah, love Escape.
Escape was cool,
especially in a singleton format, where you just get to reuse it. Anything, any repeatable effect like that in a singleton format is all right with me.
Yeah. From what I remember from when we went to do the pre-release, Rylan ended up getting an Elspeth, and he had like an aggro Elspeth Escape like deck, and just went 4 wins.
Oh yeah, he cleaned up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Get that Elspeth. Get it done.
Yeah, I was mine was a little more janky, but I did have one Gary, and then I had a few flicker effects. So I was trying to play Gary and flicker him.
just like fly fishing with Gary.
Oh yeah. the combo of Gary with Nightmare Shepherd was pretty rad. Like Nightmare Shepherd was this flying 4/4 for 2 black, and whenever a creature you controlled died, you could exile it and return it as a token copy of it, except it was a 1/1. So like, you'd slam a Gary on turn 5 and then like find a way to kill off Gary and then bring Gary back as a 1/1 and get extra Gary value.
Yeah, it was a nice little combo.
It's all about that Gary. Is Gary short for something? Like if you name your son, I guess you could name your daughter Gary, but if you name your child Gary, is it short for something? Is it like Gerald?
No, I think it's just Gary.
It's just Gary?
I think it's just Gary.
It is 2 syllables.
Yeah, it is. I guess like Riley, like you're a Riley, but it's not like you're not like Rylanold or something.
I couldn't. You know what? I'd prefer if you referred to me as Rylanold from here on out.
Yeah, Esquire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did sort of briefly mention Uro. Uro had to later be banned out of standard, because it was just too much power for one deck to have. But yeah,
don't forget Croxa.
Croxa, yeah, that's right. And if you like Croxa, we did do a deck tech on Croxa. If you go get in your way back machine and go to the I think it might have been in I think it's late 20s, early 30s.
30, maybe early 40?
Maybe, yeah. Which is how I would describe my age. So let's move on to Unsanctioned, which was February of 2020. And Unsanctioned, in case you just totally missed it, it was 5 30-card monocolored decks, each designed to synergize with one another in unique and surprising ways. Each player combines 2 decks into one 60-card deck and faces off for some wacky gameplay that stretches the limits of what Magic cards can do. So this was more of a board game style, Explorers of Ixalan kind of product. It wasn't the regular unset that we get, which I was a little disappointed by. But the thing about unsets that I think really drives the value of them is the lands, and this unset had unset lands, and they were kind of a combination between the unsanctioned lands, where they were just purely full art, no border, and the was it unglued or unhinged with the they sort of
unglued,
yeah. And they're very beautiful, and even though this product isn't something that necessarily appealed to me, I do like when they do the board game kind of style product, like the game night style product, with Magic products like this. But what I really liked about this product is that if we go back to Unsanctioned, I remember Unstable. I remember how upset players and collectors were at how rare the foil full art land drops were in boxes. I think they were essentially lottery cards, and they're still very expensive. But what I love about this product is that you got both foil and non-foil full art lands in each box, and you can still go out and buy this product. I think it has increased in price, but it's still under $100. And even the foil full art lands, if you wanted to buy the singles on the open market, they're still pretty reasonably priced. So from that perspective, I really like this product. From a collector perspective, or from a blinging out your basic lands in a deck perspective, I really like this product.
Yeah, and it was definitely a different way of doing the unsets, but it's cool when they always try something, shuffling together 2 30-card decks, making a 60-card, and just being able to play it right there.
Yeah, and
that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think this is we'll talk about this when we get to Jumpstart, but I think that this is sort of the chrysalis of Jumpstart, and we got to see this kind of deck building style in Jumpstart, but in a not that this isn't, I'm sure that this is a fun product, but the replay value of Jumpstart, if you wanted to take a Jumpstart box and turn it into a Magic the Gathering kind of repeatable card game, kind of a board game, you keep it on your shelf, I think that is really where you're going to get way more replay value, as opposed to something like this where you have 5 options. Not 5 options, you can mix and match them, and then you have however many options, but I don't want to blow my load on Jumpstart, because it's a good one. Okay, so let's move on to Historic Anthology 2, which I guess we're moving on to March here. March Madness, and Arena players, Eric and Riley, tell us all about Historic Anthology 2.
So this is the second time that they were infusing cards directly into the Historic format. And I think back now, Historic was still only playable between certain time periods.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because now you can just play it whenever you want.
Okay, it's just like Wild. It's just a format.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we got some pretty cool cards into here. They threw in some of the favorites were Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. We got Inexorable Tide for some proliferate stuff. Good old Brain Maggot and Pack Rat. Also Waste Not. There was a Dragon Master Outcast if you're making dragon tokens. Knight of the Reliquary, really good combo card. Maelstrom Pulse and Meddling Mage. And then they also added in the 1-mana cycling lands from Onslaught.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So some solid additions.
And has there, not to jump ahead, but has there been another infusion of cards like specifically for Historic at this point?
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about one more later.
Okay. All right. Giddy up. So, and like, do you guys play a fair bit of Historic? Like, are you guys still playing a lot of Arena, or how much Arena do you play these days?
I've kind of tapered off on the amount of Arena I've been playing recently. But I did recently jump on and played some of the recent edition of Cube on Arena. But yeah, like as far as regular play, like I've kind of taken a step back because I was spending a little bit too much money on Arena, and I figured it was just like, yeah, it was one of those rabbit holes that I'm sure many Magic players can sympathize with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to a paper product here. We have mystery boosters. Also in March, and this was just there was kind of two kinds of products with this, because there was the like kind of there was the regular booster packs, and then there were the booster packs that had the test cards in them that I believe were called the convention packs, right?
Yeah.
Basically, there was the retail edition,
yeah,
which was at all the LGSs, and then the convention edition, which was at the convention.
Right.
Only.
Right. But just what a fun product and a great vehicle for reprints, especially in the old border. What I loved about mystery boosters is that they printed cards with the old border, with the old text. They just had that little planeswalker symbol at the bottom left corner to illustrate that they were not the original printing of the card, which I get, even though I don't really care for that aesthetically. And it's just going back to the pandemic again, it's just the pandemic. Yeah. But it's just too bad that it was kind of impossible to draft this in stores when it was released, because that was kind of the onset of the pandemic in North America. Did you guys get to draft this in paper? Like I don't.
Yes.
You
did, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You both did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the last set of, I guess, in-store events that I actually played in.
Okay.
Yeah. Before this was like the week before things closed down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I was too scared to go to stores, but even like before March started. I think like February is the last time I went to a store to play.
Yeah.
But
I remember it being like right at the beginning of the pandemic, and there was like discussion around the store about like, should we be open? Should we be even doing this? And
right.
And I mean, sure enough, like a few days later, like not even a full week later, like things were shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty surreal, but
it was.
Man, this set was so fun to draft. I swear,
it was a lot of fun.
This was like one of the best draft formats I've ever experienced. And the packs were just so fun to open by themselves.
Like, yeah.
I remember just buying packs, opening the packs, selling the singles like right in the store, and buying more packs. Like I would just make my money back like right there. Like it was so good. Like
that's awesome.
Like the packs I think were going for around $7 Canadian when it was first released, and now they're like up around $12 I think.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, like there was so much resale value.
And you had a foil in every pack. Like there was the 121 foils, and those obviously had a higher drop rate than a lot of the rares and mythic reprints. But they so many of them were so good, and especially in Commander, were a lot of I don't want to say format staples, but a lot of them were cards that you'd want to use in a lot of Commander decks, and they had a ton of value.
Yeah, this set was a home run in my eyes. I think it was easily my favorite product of the year.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I got to draft a Soul Ring. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. So sexy. Yeah, love it. Okay, so that's. I was hoping we would that would happen, that we would get to talk about our favorite products. So that was Riley's.
Mystery Booster is a home run, straight up.
Oh,
this product
totally.
was amazing.
Home run, and a great way to start the pandemic. Like a great, really positive way to just like ease us into it. A great, I just mean like a great jumping off point. But so the next product I have on the list here is the Challenger decks, which is honestly, I didn't know they were still printing these until I put this outline together, and I guess they're still selling well, or they wouldn't be printing and releasing them.
Well, because they stopped for a bit, and then it was like really recently they brought them back.
Okay. And I mean, I think a big qualm that a lot of people have with these is that they print cards, these come out in the springtime, and then they print cards that are going to be rotating in a few months in the following fall. But
wasn't this the one they printed with some Throne of Eldraine content?
Yeah, like they reprinted Fabled Passage. Yep.
So this is where the funny part is. The Allied Fires deck was printed, which is the name of one of them, but of course Fires of Invention was banned. So
right, but it wasn't banned when they released this deck. Wasn't it banned after?
They happened very close together.
Yeah, okay, but I think it was slightly after, and maybe I'm giving Wizards the benefit of the doubt here. But I'm sure they didn't know it was banned and then printed this, because these things happen so far in advance.
Oh yeah, that's obviously not the intention.
Mm-hmm. But again, much like Unsanctioned, this isn't a product that I would buy for myself. I'm not a Standard player. I would play Standard on Arena. I'm a Standard Hearthstone player.
Mm-hmm.
But in paper, it's very difficult to be a free-to-play Standard player.
Yeah.
But what I really like about these decks, these pre-constructed decks over other pre-constructed deck products, is that they come with a sideboard. And even though the sideboard that comes with these decks might not be ideal for your local meta, or even for the current meta when you take this deck down to your FNM, but you can take this deck down to your FNM. And at least for the first couple of times you take this deck for a spin, you have that sideboard. You have that bit of, I can change this deck around. You can get used to sideboarding, because I know for me, for the longest time I was a kitchen table player, and then I started playing Commander, and then I got interested in Modern. I started playing Modern, and the hardest thing for me was figuring out what my sideboard was going to be, and then when I'm playing in between matches, what to slot in, and that, I think that takes a lot of practice. It certainly did for me. And now, I find it fun. I think it requires a lot of skill. I think it's almost similar to deciding what you're going to discard out of your hand at the end of turn. I think that requires a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge about whatever format you're playing. But it's very fun once you start to realize that you're getting good at it. It's very fun, and it's an integral part of the game. It's an integral part of any format that allows sideboards. But my point is that I'd like to see more of this kind of thing in pre-constructed decks. So for constructed formats, I'd like to see sideboards, but even in Commander products, because I know that we can't have sideboards, but we do have I think a lot of players have maybe boards. I know I have a chunk of cards in my deck boxes that can fit, certainly not boulders, but that can fit just some extra cards that I like to slot in when I'm playing different games, maybe when I'm playing 1v1 with that deck, but just different scenarios that I want to slot in and out cards. So even Commander products, I'd like to see something like that, just to give players, without having to buy additional products or additional cards, just a brand new player getting an idea of, okay, for this matchup, I'd slot in these cards, or for this group game, maybe I'll slot in this card and take out this card. Because I think and I think you guys will agree with me on this, when it comes to Commander, I think it's much easier to look at a card and think this card is going to be really good in this deck. The hard part is deciding, what do I take out?
Yeah. that can be a tough part. Yeah.
But I will say about these 4 decks, they were actually like you could buy them and go to your FNM, because like, for example, the Allied Fires, you have 4 Fires of Invention with a bunch of Planeswalkers, with Ugin to like finish it off. Like, you're getting in there and you're gonna get people. The Final Adventure deck had like the 4 Lucky Clovers for adventures. You're playing Edgewell Innkeeper. You're playing like Blacklands Paragon and Knight of Eben Legends and like the Lovestruck Beast to like get creatures out there, draw cards, go through your deck. These decks are actually very, very playable right out of the box, and easy to throw in a card here or there to pump it up.
Oh yeah, like no, they're solid decks, and they're even just buying the 4 of them and keeping them sealed, collecting them, like they're at like this is all, like even from the inception of this product, it's always been a solid product. It's always been a fun product to play outside of the box. Yeah, I've it's just that we're not paper standard players, so we never buy them. So let's move on here to another arena announcement. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm like, arena. So we have a couple here for April. We have the player draft, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first time you could draft against other human opponents as opposed to bots, right?
Yeah, the draft portion. Yeah, it was against players instead of bots. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, you mean so the draft portion? So when you would actually play games, you would still be playing against bots. Is that what you're saying? No, I kid. And we also had the cube sealed, which is an interesting. That was an interesting sort of twist on cube.
Definitely. I love in April that we got the player drafting. It made, because I really like drafting Magic, and it made the draft just feel so much better.
Yes.
Yes. There were times, for example, when you're drafting with bots, you would actually run into the same deck many times because people would figure out what you could reliably get. And I don't remember what format it was. It might have been Eldraine.
Yep.
But you could reliably get the mill deck.
The mill deck, yeah. Because they wouldn't pick it. I remember watching streamers, and it was the same thing.
It's like Merfolk Secret Keepers would just wheel all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so everybody could reliably go for this like one dark deck type, and then just playing against other people, you just see this one deck so often, and it's like, this isn't how draft is supposed to feel.
Yeah, it definitely skewed my perception of Eldraine. But player draft, fortunately, is self-correcting, and people find strategies that work really well, and maybe are underdrafted, and then maybe pick up some wins, and it becomes popular, and then next thing you know, everybody's trying to draft that archetype, and then it's overdrafted. So fortunately, with players, unlike bots, it's self-correcting, and you don't have to go in and tinker around with the algorithm for how the computer or the bots pick a card and at what level they pick the card at.
Yeah, and then I think also with players, sometimes you get funny things like I did a draft the other night, and I got a Crawling Barons on like turn 3 or 4
nice
pick, and I was like,
oh wow,
yep, that card did work for me. Crawling Barons is a really good card.
Yes, yeah, it is a really good card.
And what about cube sealed? Like, what was the cube that got your 6 packs from?
So they architected the cube
Mhm.
from what was currently available on Arena. And I think the cards chosen were very good. But of course, they were just implementing being able to draft with people.
Okay.
And so, because that was just being implemented, they didn't have it ready for Cube yet, so they did Cube Sealed.
Right.
Doing Cube Sealed is just a little weird.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's like, I mean, it's sealed versus draft. Like, I'd prefer to draft over sealed most of the time.
Yeah, nine times out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah,
less. There's
me
just
too.
less variance.
Yeah, like
There's just less variance.
yeah, because with draft, like, similar to the idea of it being self-correcting, like, you're working from a similar pool of cards as everybody else. So generally, the decks, like, if you're a good drafter, you can make a competitive deck amongst that pool of players. Whereas sealed, there's definitely more variance between each person's sealed pool. Like, you could have on-color rares and bombs here, left, right, and center. And then the next person would have, like, off-color lands that, don't really have a cohesive game plan, and you end up with a messy deck.
I think, Riley, we've all been in a shitty sealed situation like that. We open all our packs and we're like, all my bombs are different colors. I just wish I had drafted these packs.
Yeah.
I think
absolutely.
like doing sealed, even like online when a new set comes out, I don't have fun with it. The only time I like actually doing sealed is at a pre-release in person with people.
Oh yeah,
because then you're getting to crack open like that newest set.
Of course,
that whole rush of like everything's new and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So let's move on to Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So this was this set was actually pushed back, and it was also this set also had a set of commander decks that was released alongside it, but and we'll talk about those next. But the mutate mechanic, there's a couple of mechanics in this set that are really memorable, and the mutate mechanic is one of them. And it was one of those, I think, confusing was the word I heard a lot when this mechanic was spoiled, and it got the rules text, and we actually found out how it worked. But overall, I think this was a really fun set, and it added a lot to the commander format. I love the triomes. I think those are fantastic lands.
Oh yeah.
But I think because like this, this was one of those pandemic sets. We didn't get to draft it. We didn't get to go to a pre-release. So I think it was kind of forgettable, and I think it would have been much more forgettable if we didn't have the companion mechanic, which was the other mechanic, and I think the far more memorable one, because mutate didn't really make too much of a splash in any format, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But the thing about mutate is, because we did get that one commander deck with the mutate commander, but I felt like that was putting too many eggs in one basket, and that's coming from an enfranchised Voltron player, so that's impactful. But the companion mechanic, when it first was released, it warped multiple formats, and the rules had to be changed only weeks after the set came out, which was a red letter thing, that they're changing the rules text on a card and multiple cards that had just been released. And like, I didn't even get a chance to play the companion mechanic as it was originally designed. Like, what was your experience with companion, you guys?
Well, just another thing to throw in there, Luris of the Dream 10 was actually straight up banned from Vintage, which was another kind of unprecedented
that doesn't happen.
Step.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You can play with the Power 9.
But
not Luris is banned.
Not Luris though. Not Luris. Black Lotus is fine, but not Luris.
Yeah.
Arguably, Luris would be a little bit like more palatable in Vintage if like with the new companion mechanic as it's been errated, because it was actually banned shortly before the companion mechanic rule was errated. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it would look like after the errata.
Right.
Yeah.
So like on that point of the companion cards with the way that they work now, and it's still banned in Vintage. Do you guys think that unbanning Lutri in Commander is outside of the realm of possibility? That's the is it one that copies a spell and its companion. Yeah.
I feel
they
like
banned
Lutri,
it before the set was released.
Yeah, Lutri wasn't really banned for power reasons. I think it was banned for just like homogeny reasons.
Basically, yeah. Like if you were playing blue-red, just put Lutri in your command.
Yeah, there's like absolutely no restriction. So
right, of course, but
so it's just an extra card.
But I think the reason that when we read BNR announcements, oftentimes it's because the card that they're targeting is that it's format warping, and in a I can understand like CEDH. Yeah. Even making a separate ban list, even making them separate formats, I don't, like that's a topic of conversation I've read about, but like,
I don't think it's pure power. I think it's just the fact that if you're blue-red, you get an extra card there's no restriction to you at all because Commander's already a singleton format.
Yeah, there's no opportunity cost.
Yeah. And like that just doesn't really sound that fun. Like it just doesn't sound like it really adds much.
It doesn't add anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I just get this cool card that I can maybe cast later and double stuff.
But I have to pay 3 to put it in my hand first.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I still run Karuga and Tulane.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tulane's just
absolutely
absolutely busted.
Yeah.
So.
I did. I feel like Companion is still kind of OP, even though you have to pay 3, at least in Commander. Obviously in other formats it's not as good after the rules change, but with like in Commander, like I had to take out I think 4 or 5 cards out of my Sliver Overlord deck so I could have Giganta as a
Behemoth
companion. Behemoth. Yes, thank you. And like it really didn't change the deck that much. Like I took out Mana Echoes, Patriarch's Bidding, Seaborn Muse, Dusk Dawn, maybe another card. I can't quite recall, but it didn't change the deck that much, and it still essentially functions the same way. I think Seaborn Muse hurt the most, but it's just so much value, and it's an extra card. And so I like that me asking about Lutri was just like more of a rhetorical question. Like I don't actually want it to be unbanned, but
well, that's an interesting thing to talk about while we're talking about companions though.
Yeah.
And I think talking about like Lurrus with Vintage, like you could still Black Lotus, get Lurrus in your hand, and then like cast him on turn 2, get another Black Lotus back out and stuff. I think I think that card in Vintage is still very gross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even Lurrus and like Canlander. Like I have a Lurrus in my my white weenie deck, which I've yet to take the training wheels off of. But Riley and I have been playing some Canlander over webcam magic, and he's probably getting sick of my mono red burn deck. So.
No, it's fine. It just makes me realize I've got some tweaks to make with my clunky green stompy deck. So
well, yeah, it's so funny because like Riley's playing because there's a local game store in our city that does Canlander events, but it's closed to public events right now. But Riley's playing a mono green stompy deck, and I'm piloting a mono red burn deck, and like the other night I played like Blood Moon, and it's like, dude, to myself, like, what are you doing? Take that out of your deck. You're only going to be playing against Riley for the foreseeable future. And he just has forests. But so let's move on to Ikoria. You want one more? Eric has one more Ikoria related tidbit.
Yeah, so like this was when I was starting to I was really excited about Ikoria. This was the first purchase I made on Arena this year. I bought the like starter kit and everything. I have all of the Godzilla alts on Arena, because you got 10 from buying the thing, and then you got one from doing drafts. And I thought the Ikoria draft format was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of fun with how it worked out. It was the one spot that Mutate was actually kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mutate was bad in all of the formats. I still think with Mutate, if you had like the creature's power toughness combined,
that would be cool.
Probably wouldn't have been anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
No, of course.
Yeah, and it would be a little bit more flavorful, I think. But the thing about
Mutate,
I
agree.
It's almost like sacrificing the creature and then giving it haste, you know?
Yeah, well, like you're like, ooh, I got an extra little ability.
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
And while we're on the topic of the mutate mechanic being flavorful, I know that they're like making it only target non-human creatures. I think that was a flavor choice, but aren't we animals too? Like, can't we mutate? So like, it's, I know I'm being shushed, but I mean, even us, even men, like we're all mutants. Like, we all start out as girls. Like when like at inception. I know I'm getting a little gooey here, but like we're all mutants, guys. So just remember that. And we've already mutated, which means we should be able to mutate again.
Yeah, and then I mean, like, obviously mechanically wise, like non-human creature was, I guess, as flavorful as they could get it.
Yeah, and it is
making it too
flavorful.
restricted. But then you look at, like, you can mutate onto an elf, and like,
yeah,
really,
what's the difference?
What's the difference between a human and an elf? Like,
yeah,
a couple feet and some pointy ears.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, that's funny.
Very good point. Very good point.
And with Companion as well, like I played a decent amount of Standard, and then I got really tired of Companion. And then I fell off playing Arena for a bit until I think like Zendikar came out.
All right, so let's move on to the Ikoria Commander, or Commander 2020. So it was 5 decks, which was the first time we'd gotten that in a few years. And as opposed to 4, which was nice, because it cost about this to buy all 5, cost about the same amount. I think a little bit when I picked it up, it was a little bit less than Commander 2019 for 4 decks, and the reprints weren't any better or any worse, I guess, is the thing to remember.
Yep.
But longtime listeners of the show know that we run a Commander League with each set of decks that are released, and we've been doing it for about 3 years. And yeah, I think we can all agree that these decks, the Ikoria 2020 decks, are the most synergistic. Were the most synergistic and fun to play right out of the box since we started the league.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I'd agree. I definitely like the direction they took. I guess in this iteration of the Commander product, because they focused it a little bit more on the lead commander. I know in past years they, you do have your main commander and then your few other generals, and then the commander deck would be kind of pulled in 3 different directions. But like over the course of the last few years, they've definitely made them a little bit more cohesive around a single kind of strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah, these were pretty fun to play out of the box. I haven't quite made Gavi click though.
Well, no, but you have all those. Unlike everyone else who's playing these for no like subsequent points, just for fun. We don't play for fun. We play for keeps. And you're just taking all those curse points right up top, and that's why you're still in the lead.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue. That's unrelated to.
Of course, that's an issue.
We're dealing.
We've
with
addressed
that.
it. We've addressed it. But I think I don't know if these decks right out of the box were more powerful than previous years, but and maybe they're them being more synergistic made them feel more powerful. But regardless, it feels like these products, since we started this project of ours, the league, that the decks have been progressively getting better. And I guess when I say better, I just mean they're more fun to play and play against each other.
Yeah, I've definitely been having a lot of fun with mine.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was a little bit weird was like I know they tried to make mutate a thing, but when you have a brand new mechanic, you don't have very many cards to support that
Yeah.
mechanic.
There's not a deep bench there.
No.
Yeah. and then you have what is this Sultai Hydra called?
Don't remember.
But whatever it is.
It's like Zaxara or something like that.
Zaxara, yes. That's just combo potential right there.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
It's too bad you lose points
Strong
for it,
card.
but what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't have to win this turn.
Yeah, I'm not going to win this turn. I'm not going to take the winning with the combo minus points, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not infinite now because I don't win. So.
Because I stopped it.
right, of course. Yeah. So, I think overall this was a very, I think in summation we were all very happy with this product. Also,
I think so.
One last thing: the partner commanders, that was a nice touch. We'll partner with, and I think what I like most about them is that they foiled out. They always foil the front facing commander, and recent, like in the last couple of years, they've foiled the two lieutenant commanders. But with this, they foiled out the partner commanders, which was nice. And the foils are good. Like they weren't crazy curled. I don't get it. Just do that. Just do the don't. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't.
Yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to well, we're staying in May, but we have Historic Anthology number 3. So we have yet another infusion of cards straight into Historic. And I love that they do this. It's sort of like Modern Horizons. They bypass standard, and they take a bunch of cards that, have been tested, they have the data for Magic Online, and they can just pop them right into Historic.
So with this one, they knew shrines were coming with the new core set. So they threw in the old Hondens in this one. So we got the place of the Hondens, which was really nice. Yeah. Yeah. We got good old Ulamog Ceaseless Hunger.
Yeah,
baby. Tempered Steel, which is really great for artifacts. Gives you artifacts +2/+2. Swan Song is a super good counter spell.
Love it.
Yep. Phyrexian Obliterator.
Yeah.
Definitely mono black became a thing after this came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Devotion, baby.
Remember Swift Justice being a good one.
Yeah.
Or, no, it's Justice Strike. Justice Strike became playable.
Mirari's Wake for that extra mana. We got a Chroma's Memorial, which is just a big old bomb. And Maze's End. So if you want to do some jank and get some gates out and win, you can do that now.
Oh yeah. Well, was that the core set that Golos was released in? Or was Golos 2019? Yeah. No, Golos was 2020?
Golos was 2019.
So. Oh, was it 2019?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, anyways, at that point he would have already been in standard, so with Maze's End. Maybe it was 2020. Not in historic, I mean.
Golos was with Arcades, right? Which one is Arcades?
Yeah, with the other Elder Dragons. The not reprints, but the reimaginings.
That's 2019.
Yeah, it was like they took the Elder Dragons and they gave them the Battlestar Galactica treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also for Arena we got the Cube Draft,
right?
Which is better than Cube Sealed.
Mm-hmm. I think we can all agree
that's
on
all
that.
We have to say.
Yeah, that's just a strictly better right there.
And then the one thing I did want to explain about a little bit was the last thing here for Arena is the Arena Open. So this is something that I didn't think Wizards was going to do, but they started doing tournaments on Arena, and I think I was looking at it, there was either 3 or 4 this year. But basically, if you just played Arena on the weekend, you could enter into this Arena Open, and it was a 2-day thing. They were both, you had to get 7 wins. The first day, if you got the 7 wins, you would qualify for day 2. So you could do the qualifier as many times as you wanted. So you could pay that entry fee to get a qualifier if you got the 7 wins. Day 2, of course, was only you got your 1 chance because you just got the 1 qualifier and that's it.
Right.
But if you made it to day 2, and if you got the 6 wins on day 2, you actually got $1,000 USD. Ooh. And if you got to the 7 wins, you got $2,000 USD on top of other stuff. So Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's nice that they did it on the weekend for people like us that have straight jobs.
Yeah. But of course, you can play whenever you want as well. So even if you are working an 8-hour or even a 12-hour, if you want to stay up a little bit extra, you do have the ability to play whenever you want.
I think I'd probably get up early and do it as opposed to staying up late. But that's, I'm not really a night owl.
Yeah, right. Whatever suits you.
Let's move on to the 2020 signature spellbook, which was Chandra. A bit of a step down in value from the Gideon spellbook. We got Chandra, Torch of Defiance, Cathartic Reunion, Fiery Confluence, Past in Flames, Pyroblast, Pyromancer's Ascension, Rite of Flame, and Young Peasy. Shout out to Eric on that one. And with these, it's still the same like foil drop rate. So you get the pack in the very nice box. You slide it open, you open your pack, and one of the cards is in foil. The rest of the cards are not in foil, but they all have the alternate border. So I really like this product. I've gotten a couple of these and just kept them sealed. I like products like this, like Commander decks, where you know exactly what's in it, as opposed to booster box, which I find with booster boxes, I just want to open them because it's like, what am I gonna get? But these, it's like it could be a boat. But products like this, I don't really like. I don't have the same desire to open because I know what's in it. These ones are a little tougher because it's like, what if the Torch of Defiance is the foil? But overall, I find these products are better for me as a collector. But anyways, that's not the point here. Like I said, this is a bit of a step down in value from the Gideon spellbook, but we've mentioned this before in this episode and throughout the whole course of the show. I think Wizards has a penchant for being unwilling or unable to replicate the success of an ongoing product, and even in some cases, when the product is successful ongoing, they'll discontinue it. But this makes me think of Commander Collection Green, which we'll get to. That's kind of how we'll finish things off here. But this kind of track record makes me worry about that product, right? Because that product seemed to be so good in its contents, and so did I think the Gideon spellbook was really solid, and this one is not so much. So I don't know. I think the value's there, but it's not something I was excited about, certainly.
Yeah, I think that basically sums it up for me. It's not something I was excited about. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do like the art. Like, I think that looks great, and like you have like the fire at the bottom. Like the cards all look really good. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, they do. Okay, so let's move on to, and this was a red letter day for me. I remember Riley texted me and he was like, and I'm like, oh, I know. And it was Arena on Mac OS. Riley and I are dedicated. We're Mac boys. And Eric's not a Mac boy, and that's why we get into a tussle every now and then. But it's all in good fun. And they brought Arena to Mac OS. You had to have at least Catalina or better. And even if you did, the Mac got hot. So don't put it on your lap. But it still needs some work, it sounds like, but it's a step in the right direction. And just like we talked about at the top of this episode, this was June, and they're now announcing that they're going to bring this to Android by the end of January. So, it's just it takes time. It takes time to figure all this stuff out, and especially Magic, a game that can be almost infinite in what you can do and the permanence that you can create and the counters that you can create, and trying to mold that into a digital interface. That's tough.
Sure is.
And I think with Arena, I think ideally it's going to, maybe not ideally, and I hope I'm not alienating any listeners here. or my co-hosts, but you know, because it's going to be available across all platforms. You want it to be available. You want every format to be available on that platform. And you know, I think what I'm talking about is probably years in the future. But you know, the only place you can play digital Commander or Legacy or Vintage is on MTGO. And you know, if I was somebody that was running a company like Hasbro, I would want to consolidate the formats of a card game into one digital space, which at this point is Arena.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I think the big thing that everyone's obviously going to want is Commander. And just for how the UI works, like, I feel like Commander needs its own little overhaul in terms of how it would play on Arena.
Well, what's difficult about Magic on a mobile device is that the games, even in 1v1, the games can be long. The games can be very long. Like we've all gone to, you know, play standard or modern or are there other formats? No, I'm kidding. And we've gone to time, like or draft or sealed. Like we've gone to time, we've gone to turns, and you know, something like Commander, which can take so much longer. You know, what's great about something like Hearthstone is that the games, you know, average 5 to 7 minutes. You can get into those wild games where you're both playing control decks, you're both playing odd control warrior, and you're just tanking up every turn, just 4 armor over and over again. Those games can take 45 minutes. You can actually go to turns in those games. But I think that's kind of difficult with Magic Arena on mobile, because the thing about mobile is it's mobile, and something that can take 45 minutes to an hour doesn't really hold with that kind of mindset of something that's like quick and fast.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be long
like,
long periods of time on the toilet.
That's a long BM.
Yeah.
Okay, I think if they ever added Commander to Arena, it would not be on mobile because there's just no way to do that. I don't think.
No, absolutely, it's tough.
And that, like, being said, like, we'll see what happens, but like I may play, you know, like on the phone. I think like how Hearthstone has it, like a best of one is an easier format because of how much shorter it is.
Yeah.
And if I was playing on my phone, I may end up seeing myself going back to playing a little bit more best of one Magic, possibly, just because that's going to be the way to really play it on a mobile device.
Yeah, and then you have something like on Hearthstone, the Battlegrounds, which is, you know, actually currently the most popular format in Hearthstone, and that is a longer. That's more of a time commitment in any other format versus Wild or Standard or Arena, just on average. You know, so my point is that people are willing to make that time.
People definitely are.
Yeah.
Because there are also people out there that don't have a computer that can like run these things, right? And so they have their mobile device that they do this kind of stuff on.
Yeah.
And so that's what's really great about that as well. And you will have a lot of people out there that will use that as their dedicated way to play Magic Arena or Hearthstone and Runeterra and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, I have here the Magic Arena Starter Kit, which was I wanted to just touch on this because I think it's a good product, and I think for the paper to digital connection, it's a really great step in the right direction. And in case you didn't know about this, it was a product. It was a paper product. It was 2 60-card decks. It was 2 foil cards, like the sort of the foil facing cards, It was the rules and World of Magic rulebook, which I think any player wants, and franchised or otherwise. And it was one twice redeemable MTG Arena code. So the Arena code was for each deck. So you could go onto your Arena account, use this code, and each of those 60 card decks was redeemable in digital. So you'd have it in paper and you'd have it in digital. And although this product wasn't something that I would purchase, and I certainly didn't, I think the value of the product was definitely there at the time. Just with the paper singles, the value was there, but what really sold it for me was the Arena redemption codes for this deck. And I just want to see more of this. You know, with Pokemon, you always have the card code and or the code card rather. So I'd like to see more of this. I'm not saying, I mean, ideally, yes, you buy a pre-constructed deck, you get that deck, you get the code for it, you redeem it on Arena, you have the exact same deck. That's an ideal world. But you know, when it comes to booster packs, you get a code card and you get a pack online. So I just think that this was a step in the right direction. We haven't seen a lot more of this since then. This was in July, but you know, I'd love to see more of this.
Yeah.
The one little weird thing, apparently to my source, is that the MTG Arena code card is only available in the Amazon version.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even though this was sold at at some LGSs and also mass market stores.
Yeah, I saw it at Fusion and Galaxy
actually. Yeah, apparently the digital Arena code is in the Amazon version.
Oh, that's weird. Well,
Yeah,
I guess you gotta support your local Amazon retailer, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think we have a
Yeah,
distribution
great.
center in like up, I think like in Stony Mountain. I think there's one up there.
Just a mom and pop shop, Amazon shop.
Oh yeah, just a couple old people in aprons. Yeah. So let's move on to Core Set 2021. I think this is the best core set in recent memory. I don't want to say ever because, you know, alpha, beta, you know what I'm saying? But just so many good reprints for Commander, especially. You know, that we talked about this in our set review, but just a fantastic set, a lot of great new cards. But like this is what a core set is supposed to be. And I think these reprints, these like good quality reprints started with Core 2019, and Wizards saw that they could reprint really good, valuable cards like Crucible of Worlds into Standard. And, you know, if the Standard format wasn't in such a state that it would abuse those cards, then it wasn't a problem. So, you know, this is a gold star for me.
Or then you can also reprint cards like Ugin and just see it run rampant through Standard.
Well, you know, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But of course, like when you're going to reprint Ugin, like it's just a good card.
Yeah.
Like there's no
And there's no
way around that.
And there's, you know, when it comes to your mana base, there's no opportunity cost to putting it in your deck.
Oh yeah.
So it's you know, it's tough to get around that. And when Ugin needs a reprint, you know.
But yeah, this was kind of I did not enjoy this draft format too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that kind of happens with the core sets though. They're just a little bit, just for how they're built, I just find them not as fun as what the other sets are like.
Yeah, the Naya colors in this set were really strong. So like red, white, green.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all in one deck, but like any combination of those was where you want it to be.
Just good.
Yeah. So it did lend itself to being a little bit more aggressive, and it was a good draft format, like from my perspective, but it wasn't anything special by any means. But like it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad. Like it I think it was like, even though those colors were like a good combination, especially like the red white. I had some pretty good aggro decks the couple times I played. Yeah. I just didn't. I guess because there's not as much different stuff, I just didn't find it as like fun, like the longevity.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean.
I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah. And then even though I really like Ugin, I didn't really play much standard around now. I think I was just kind of out of Magic a little bit, but
I feel you. I feel like I was in a similar space. Like I think standard in 2020 was hard to swallow. You know, it was just ban after ban, broken mechanic after broken mechanic, and just became an environment that wasn't really fun to play in. And I kind of just stuck to draft and stuck to commander, and yeah, historic was actually historic
baby,
was doing pretty well.
Always stick to commander and modern.
Yeah. No, but,
also Pauper.
But I was playing a little bit more historic than standard at that time, just because I was so disenfranchised with standard and just like not really wanting to invest time or wildcards into decks that I kind of knew were going to be banned next week. You know.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard for as a player to kind of get into that kind of format or hold any interest.
If you spend those cards and the card gets banned, then you get the.
I get that, but
wild cards.
But it's also just like the concept of the deck that requires wild cards.
Yeah.
It's not like the entire deck that gets banned.
You don't get the refund on those.
Exactly. That's the problem, and that's the problem with Hearthstone as well. You know, they nerf a card, and you know if you would decide to dust it, you get the full dust value. But what about the rest of the deck? Right?
Yeah,
like that's a really good point, Riley. Like you don't, you know, like I think these digital card games should be giving you the dust, maybe not for the whole deck, but maybe for the rares, maybe for the I was going to say epics, but I guess like mythics, the mythics and the rares, just because like, you know, it's not just the one card that's been banned, like that can take the whole deck out of competitive standing.
Yeah.
Sounds like standard was a bit of a bitch in 2020. So let's move on to something a little more fun with Jumpstart. If you haven't played Jumpstart, we did a whole set review on Jumpstart, so you can go back and listen to that. I think it was a one-parter, which is a bit of a red letter thing for us. But if you haven't played with Jumpstart packs yet, and I know, you know, a box of Jumpstart is still very expensive, and that's probably never going to get remedied until they do this again, I would recommend it. It's just really fun. It's a really fun style of play, and most of the decks that I've played with and against seem quite balanced. And if you keep the packs separate after you play with them, you can have a ton of replay value, unlike Unsanctioned, which I mentioned earlier. This set also has a ton of great reprints, just like mystery boosters. But the problem with this set was its distribution. And as a result of that, many of the high value reprints didn't really go down in price. They still haven't. And another result of that distribution problem was that many of the high value new cards are still very expensive.
Yeah.
And they'll probably stay that way until they get reprinted. But all in all, this was just a fantastic product. It's a great product for in franchise players. It's a fantastic product for new players. It's a great way to get new people into the game. Like, I think a really big barrier to entry is deck building. Like, it's hard and it takes a long time to get good at it and to just know what to look for and the nuances and all the kind of vegetables that you have to eat to build a deck so that you're doing things every turn. I think that takes the most time and experience. And, you know, this was my favorite product of 2020. I just think, you know, just out of the box, it just has everything. And I've just had nothing but fun with this product.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I think this is definitely a runner-up for me. Of course, like Mystery Booster, I think took it for me, but Jumpstart is a lot of fun. And fortunately, I ended up picking up 2 boxes before they were way too expensive. So I still have a sealed box and then one that I've slowly been cracking open. But yeah, you're right. The issue with some of the new cards, like Allosaurus Shepherd, for example, is still...
I like Bruvik. There's still, like, Allosaurus Riders, I think
$80 US. Yeah. Like,
and Bruvik is, like, around 50 and like, Tiny Bones is still very expensive. Like, a lot of the mythics are very expensive.
Yeah.
Muxus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that like he was making waves in Legacy.
Yeah, this product was definitely really fun. I didn't even plan on. I thought I was just gonna like pick up a few packs, and it was after we were doing our like episode on it. I was like, I'm gonna pre-order a box, and I got one of the last ones that Fusion had.
Oh,
so I was
nice.
very lucky.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, it's just you know, and I think based on this, I hope based on the success of this product, they're gonna do a similar product, or I mean, they could just do a straight reprint and I'd buy it. But yeah, it's just such a great way to introduce somebody who's new to Magic into the game, because it takes out a lot of the guesswork.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after actually like, so I've cracked the whole box and bought other packs, but I've kept them in sleeved, so you can still just like reopen and play them and shuffle them together.
Oh man, we should do that.
Yeah, so if we ever get back together, like I have everything sleeved still,
Nice.
and you just like pick 2 packs and put them together.
Okay. Awesome.
After playing with the set a bit, I do have some wants for like a Jumpstart 2 or something.
Oh, okay.
I hope that they don't base it off of a core set, because like a lot of the cards are from core set 2021.
That is true.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they could kind of like just like take from all over Magic just for everything.
Yeah.
Because then it's also, there is a very, some of the packs kind of just like really suck, and then some are actually just like really good for what the themes are. So I feel like there's some balancing to be done there as well.
Yeah.
To really make it like an overplayable, like replayable kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But overall, yeah, Jumpstart's great.
So let's move on to Double Masters here. The dreaded VIP packs.
Oh boy.
So this was a set full of fantastic reprints, and I think it would have been received far better and remembered far more fondly without the inclusion of those $100 packs that for us in Canada, they were more than $100, and they're even more than $100 now. And even that reprint we got right before the end of the year, they were still more than $100. And you know, that was just, you know, the value was there, but you know, the drop rate of Meddling Mage in the openings that I watched seemed to be very high, and it's just you know, that was a product for whales, right? Like $100 booster pack, and most of the cards were lands, and it just didn't feel great. But that being said, I love this set, and I love the amount of great reprints. I love that there were 2 foils. I love what this did to the prices of singles and the prices of single foils. That's kind of my feeling on this product.
It kind of reminds me of like, remember when cell phones, like, remember the first $1,000 plus cell phone? You know?
Yeah.
No, not.
You're like, whoa.
I think it was I can't remember which Apple iPhone it was, but it was like one of the first cell phones to ever breach that that $1,000 gap. And now I keep seeing advertisements on cell phones that are like, you know, talking about, oh, the cell phone's only like $500, or the cell phone's only $600. It's like, I feel like this is kind of the Wizards' ploy, is to release $100 packs and then be like, well, it's only $12. Come on.
But you know, it's funny that you say that, and we'll get to the Commander collection, but I think that this was a great precursor to that, because you know, that was far more than $100, and that was just for the regular version.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good reprints, and of course getting double rares in the packs I think did a lot for the single market, and I definitely picked up a lot of good cards for Commander from this set. So this printing was this is a pretty wicked set. The only thing I wish I could have done was actually get to draft it.
Yeah, me too. And and I agree. Like for singles, this was a buyer's delight.
Yeah, and it was a pretty unique way to draft the set too, right? Because you got 2 first picks per pack.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was something that.
So if you got like 2 good rares, you didn't feel bad for having to pass one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So let's move on to Amonkhet Remastered for Arena. That was a set release for Arena. And was this wasn't the was this the entire regular standard set of Amonkhet that was released into Historic?
No.
Almost.
No, so it was a combination of Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation, but it was curated to be a draftable format as well.
Okay.
And it was injected into the Historic format.
Yeah, so not all of the cards hit, but most of the cards from those two sets hit. And then they also threw in extra cards as like invocations.
Yeah.
So it was like around 500 cards that they injected into Historic?
I think it's around 300 or so.
300?
I don't remember the exact count.
Yeah, I should have brought that up.
I just thought both those sets were, because that was when they were doing the 2-block format before they switched to the like single set format. But like those sets were still like in the 200 plus range, were they not?
Yep, they're around 250 each set. But in this case, they didn't include every single card.
Right.
They basically made it into like a large set that was designed to be draftable. So kind of mashing the two together and cutting out a lot of the bulk. But just
cutting the crust off that shit sandwich.
Exactly.
So they had 338 cards.
There you go.
In total. I had a ton of fun drafting this set. Like this remastered set, I was drafting a lot.
Yeah, I heard really good things about it, but I actually didn't end up picking it up myself, unfortunately.
Yeah, from like playing after Ikori, I still had some gems, then I wasn't really drafting much, so just through play, I ended up having a lot of extra, and so I was able to start off with a bunch, and then I also I was playing a lot of Jund actually in this format and was doing really well with it.
Nice.
But it was a really, really fun draft format. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. And yeah, it's kind of also fun to go back because obviously this was a time when I was playing Magic, and so I kind of knew what the cards did already. And it was just kind of like, hey, this is kind of like a familiar format, but I've never drafted it in this kind of way before. And yeah, I think they hit home.
Nice. Well, with Amonkhet and Hour of Devastate Your Wallet, hashtag Alpha Investments, second time's a charm, right? So let's move on to Zendikar Rising, our third trip to Zendikar. This was this was a set that I think we were all hoping to get a reprint of the enemy fetch lands in, but we knew we weren't going to get them.
Yeah.
We fucking knew it. So, but, we did, however, get the MDFCs, which was one of the let's not make new players feel bad move that WotC has made in recent memory. And I love it. I love these cards. You don't have to worry as much about getting mana flooded or mana screwed, and I think that is just choice. I think, especially the mythic cycle of these cards have become commander staples. Not to mention the other the other cards, but the cards where you can choose whether the land side comes into play tapped. I think those are commander staples. I've slotted them into most of my decks that can support those colors, because there's just there's really no opportunity cost to doing so, and it's 3 life. What, I'm going to be at 37 life? Yeah, I can spare it.
Yeah, no, I love Zendikar Rising, and there's quite a few like fun legends that came out of the set as well. I think the one that sticks out to me was what's her name? It's
Omnath, Locus of Rage.
Oh god, no, not Omnath.
Locus of
Please
Creation.
No, please no. No, I think it was Ashaya. Was it? No, Ashaya's.
Ashaya's the green.
I'm just trying to think of the legendary. It was the legendary for 3 green. That its power and toughness was equal to the number of lands you controlled. It turned all of your
that's Ashaya.
Oh, that is Ashaya. Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Man, I remember getting an Ashaya in the draft format and having like kind of a landfall theme going. I mean, not to say that Gruul Landfall was that good in that draft format, but it nonetheless, like when you play a Brushfire Elemental, when you have a Shy on the battlefield and Brushfire Elemental triggers its own landfall ability and then swings in with haste, like that feels really fun.
Got him.
Yeah, I have to say, like, Gruul Landfall is really good in Standard. In Draft, not quite the best, though. Like, I did have a Phylath one that I had in Draft, and that was pretty fun.
Well,
still didn't get there with the wins, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's one of those decks that's kind of an uncommon deck, right? Like, a lot of the build-arounds are at uncommon, and there's not a whole lot of common level of support. So it can come together, but it is not an archetype that you hope to find yourself in.
Yeah, I know, because it definitely has like a lot of uncommon cards you need.
Yeah, and the planeswalkers in this set, it was Jace and Nahiri. Like they're pretty. They have not seen a lot of success in any format.
Planeswalkers are very meh.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Like I think the new Jace is in the last iteration of Vintage Cube, and it's actually not that bad. Like for kind of like a cube or that limited environment, like Jace is pretty fun. But I don't think he's over the top by any means, like Oko or anything of the sort.
No, of course not. But yeah, just
Zendikar Rising is the best Standard set this year.
Okay, is it your favorite? Is it your favorite product, Eric? Have we gotten to your favorite?
I think
I don't know what my favorite product is.
Oh, really? I thought you said Mystery Booster was.
Like, I really liked Mystery Booster, and I only got to draft it once. I think if I got to draft it more, I would have said that's my favorite. But I think it's just because I didn't get to play it very much. I don't have, like, a very good memory of it.
That's fair.
Yeah, Riley. No, he hasn't said his favorite.
Okay.
So don't be...
I'll leave him alone.
Like...
he doesn't need
no, like
he doesn't have to pick
it's like Mystery Booster, Zendikar Rising, and then, like, I really enjoyed Amonkhet Remastered.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I really did, yeah.
Supporting the arena team.
Yeah.
Well, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
I'm here to support Arena.
Yes. No, and Eric has been the digital face of this show since day one. So, next up we have the Zendikar Rising Commander decks. So this was the first time that because they swapped out the Planeswalker decks that we normally got with standard sets, and they replaced them with these two pre-constructed Commander decks, and they essentially cut the cost of these decks in half. So you could get both decks for the price of, what was previously a regular Commander deck. So both of these decks were $50 CAD.
Yeah.
And this was really the first time that I started to get worried that we might not get a dedicated set of Commander decks in 2021. More because these decks seem to be less powerful than the Ikoria decks, and a little bit less because the value was not so great. I think initially, especially in the Dimir deck, the value was definitely there. And you're paying like half price for these decks, but the power level also wasn't there. And what was really distinctly different about these decks is in previous Commander deck products, we got those Lieutenant Commanders. We didn't get that with these decks.
No.
Yeah, these decks are still a very different feel compared to like a regular Commander product. I don't think it's a regular Commander product, and if they stop doing regular Commander product and just do these, I'd be very sad, because they are very different.
Yeah, I think Wizards took a bit of a different approach with this, just considering that this did kind of replace the Planeswalker decks. They've probably recognized that, hey, maybe a casual format like Commander is a better way to bring people into the game, and this, making it less appealing, I guess, for enfranchised players and more accessible price-wise for new players. I think that's kind of the direction they were going with this, which I think if you kind of look at it from that perspective, they kind of met the mark they were looking to meet. But yeah, definitely from my perspective, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, like this wasn't a product that interested me enough to actually want to go out and buy the product. Like I remember doing the Naya Landfall deck tech
episode, yeah.
and not being very inspired by the lead commander.
No, we did Angry Omnath.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just kind of representative of what these decks are. It's just like nothing splashy or exciting. It's a lot of like commons and uncommons that you may have drafted a few years ago, but like I think they're definitely intended for that brand new audience.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, and I think that's what we can hope for, because we got with the commander, we got 3 new cards in these decks respectively.
Yeah.
Whereas with the commander product that we get every year, we get 17 new cards in each deck.
Yeah.
Which is that's a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
So I think that they've made these decks quite a bit cheaper, and I think that what's in these decks is representative of that. But and I don't have any problem with it. Like, I pre-ordered these decks, and the same thing with Commander Legends, because I wasn't sure what was going to be in them, and I thought that if we had to, we were going to do another league with these decks, we could use these decks. But with the regular Commander product, it seems like such a different product, and just personally, and I think you guys would agree, if it's at that level, if it's at the Ikoria Commander deck plane level, or better, and I'm not talking about reprints, I'm just talking about something that's a little bit more powerful out of the box to play and more synergistic amongst the 5 decks, I'm still willing to pay that $40 to $50 price range.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Commander Legends. It's 2020 was the year of COVID, and it was also the year of Commander. Let's not forget that. Commander Legends was, I don't know if it was the most successful product of 2020 when it comes to Magic, but as someone who considers themselves a Commander player first and foremost, it was definitely the product that I was looking forward to the most. And again, it was really too bad that we weren't able to draft it in paper, but it brought, but I bought 2 boxes, so I got a spare if we need to draft it. It did bring a ton of great reprints and a bunch of cards that have already become format staples, whether you're playing casually or competitively. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but I think there are some cards like Opposition Agent or Hull Breacher that are, I think, like Notion Thief is we know how good Notion Thief is. I think Hull Breacher is a close second. This was just a solid product. Besides the card stock on the foils, this was a great product. It's like great reprints. I really had no complaints about this product. I loved the foil etching things.
Yes.
And going back to the secret layers at the top of this episode, the Stargazer secret layers with the Theros gods, the original Theros gods reprints, I feel like with that kind of style, and I haven't seen any of those cards in person, but I feel like the style is very similar to the foil etched. But the foil etched cards are beautiful, they're subtle, they're flat, which is the best part.
Yeah, they're
playable. They're playable, they're lovable.
Yeah.
You can kiss them as long as you put an inner sleeve over top of it first.
Yeah.
They're just
not. Get wild.
Get wild with it. Get wild with it. Be a Riley. Be a Rylanald.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And they're just I just thought this set was a home run. My biggest complaint with Commander Legends was that there was a pandemic going on, so we couldn't draft it.
100% agree. Yeah,
and that's not Commander Legends' fault.
No, it's not.
That's that bat that had COVID-19.
Yeah, like I 100% agree with respect to, like, this was the set I was probably most hyped for this year.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that it came down at the point in our province where, like, COVID was at its worst and we couldn't go
Things
out.
were, we were going to red.
Yeah.
You can't look at anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I was most hyped for this product, and I was heartbroken when I just basically came to the realization that I wouldn't be able to draft this in a store or in person, even with you guys. Like, it was,
it's everything was like, we couldn't even, we couldn't, it was just like, cause like, it's crazy, but like at this point we've been in the level of restriction where we can only interact with people in our households. We've been in this level of restriction for 8 weeks.
Yeah. So
like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it sucks, but otherwise, like, I love the product. I love the legendaries that came out of this product,
and
like,
the partners like, it's so
great.
Cool. Yeah,
they're fantastic. We got Jared, the most milquetoast name you can think of, but like an awesome new Monarch commander in Naya colors. Yeah, it's just a home run.
I think a more milquetoast name would have been like Jeff.
Yes,
like Jeff is more milquetoast.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
But yeah, like, speaking of the partners, I'm glad that they also reprinted all those partner commanders, because they really needed a reprint. Like, that was solid.
Yeah.
And then like, I own a mana drain now.
Nice.
I'll be picking up a scroll rack. Like, all these like really cool, powerful cards that got that reprint. Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, I bought a mana drain because they were like floating around $70, and then I opened a mana drain. I was like, oh,
you didn't even need to buy it.
I didn't even need to buy it, but now I can put it in Unesh Sphinxes.
There you go. Oh my God.
Wicked.
Oh God.
God, I love that deck.
It's a good deck. Pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun because it's
good fun deck.
It gets my opponents involved in what I'm doing. You guys get to pick. I love Fact or Fiction. I love it.
Yeah.
And Unesh has like card draw and ramp right on it. What else do you want in a commander?
Yeah.
And and then you're just you win by just hitting people in the face with kind of mid-range flyers.
Yeah.
That's what Commander's all about.
Yeah.
It's also all about anything else that you want to do. That's the best part about Commander. It's just go nuts. So let's move on to the Commander Legends Commander decks. So, we didn't do an episode on these, as you know. And
I think just like listen to our previous conversation with the Zendikar Rising.
Yeah, exactly. It was very much in the same vein.
Yeah, these were kind of these were lackluster. They were, I think, more lackluster than the Zendikar Commander decks. I think if we didn't have the Rogue deck and the Rogue Commander from Zendikar Rising, we probably wouldn't have devoted an episode to them. Because, out of the 4 of these, that's the most interesting one.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad they printed ASE, because I really like that card.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I swapped out my my Tatiova for AC, but honestly, I'm really.
Is Tatiova still in the deck?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No, I wasn't raised by wolves, of course. But I'm really hoping that I think we're all hoping, and I'm sure everyone who's listening is hoping, that we'll get a dedicated set of 4 or 5 commander decks with the spring standard set. Something that is in the same wheelhouse as the Ikoria decks. Something that is for commander, because Riley, I think you made a really good point when you were talking about shifting those Planeswalker decks to the pre-con two-player commander decks for the last couple sets that we were talking about, because I think that is a better introduction into a format that people already play, whereas those Planeswalker decks are, not to put too fine a point on it, are garbage. Like, where are you going to play those?
No, exactly.
Honestly, where are you going to play those?
Yeah. You're going to play them exactly on your kitchen table with somebody else that has the same power level of deck.
Yeah, and they're just trash. So yeah, I think and I hope that that's what they're going for. And overall, I think that this past year has shown us that they do have a pretty good like this year has been a pretty good gauge for their level of awareness for the products that they should be producing and that are successful. So I think that I I I I have faith that we're going to see a dedicated Commander set of decks with the spring set, or maybe the summer set. Maybe they'll push it. I don't know, but I think that we're gonna. I don't think that we're gonna lose that. And they better have Arcane Signet in every deck, because if they don't, I'm gonna scream.
It's basically Soul Ring at this point.
Yeah. No, it's a 98 card deck.
Yeah.
So next up we have Kaladesh Remastered. We're going all the way to no, we're still in November. Sorry, whoopsies. So this was this also a combination of Kaladesh and Aether Revolt?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Same idea with Amonkhet, but now we're in Kaladesh. I don't think they injected cards like they did with the invocations that they did with Amonkhet, though.
Okay.
And this one came out very soon after Amonkhet as well, because Amonkhet was August, and 3 months later we have this. Another big 300 card draft set. Again, it's fun to go back and draft these old sets when they're together like this. It's a really fun little format. I think with the remastered sets being so close together, though, for people that like playing Historic, it's a little bit too many cards added all at the same time.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Because then, like, if you are just playing Standard, like, through just playing, you do get free packs for what's in Standard and stuff like that. But you don't get that with the Historic stuff. And so I think, like, it's nice that they're adding these cards in, but I think some people may just feel like it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Kaladesh is fun.
Yeah.
Oh. I did a bunch of drafts and didn't get to draft a single Gearhulk.
Did you get any like energy decks though?
Yes, I did do energy. I think once at least.
Yeah. Energy is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Too much fun. That's why they banned it.
Yeah. Like, stop having so much fun.
Stop it.
Yeah, they're always trying to stop us from having too much fun. So, lastly here, our last product, I'm pretty sure, is Commander Collection Green, which was a set of 8 green cards. Well,
quote.
Whoa. So we have Bane of Progress, Command Tower, Freyalise, Llanowar's Fury, she has an eye patch, Omnath, Locus of Mana, Seedborn Muse, Soul Ring, Sylvan Library, and Worldly Tutor. So like I think I sort of mentioned with the signature spellbook, Chandra, I really wasn't expecting WotC to hit such a home run on this product. This thing really does contain a lot of the green staples that players need for Commander, minus the Soul Ring and Command Tower. I also like that they offered it both in foil and non-foil. I just keep doing that, Wizards, please, because your foiling skills have not been great as of late. Or you know what? Here's a better idea. Give us foil, non-foil, and etched foil.
Ooh, yes. Or just replace foiling with etched foil.
Yes, do that, please.
Since they
please.
lay flat,
get rid of the foils. You're bad at it. You're bad at it. I think the price was still too high on this product, even on the non-foil. But I think having both regular and premium versions of a product bring down the regular version in price. That's sort of what I like about the collector's boosters. I know we didn't talk too much about that on this episode with all the standard sets and the VIP. Well, we touched on the VIP sets, but they do bring down the price of all cards, and as a player who predominantly buys singles and not sealed product, I like that. Anyways, you're with this product. I don't know what the foils are like. I haven't gotten a lot of information about that. I haven't watched a lot of opening videos, but you're probably better off picking up the regular version. That's what I did. But I think I'm worried about the next Commander collection because you just never know with WotC. But I can predict this was a solid product.
Yeah, I can predict what is going to be in the other colors.
Of course, no, we can predict what's going to be in the other colors, but
Yeah, like Soul Ring and Command Tower.
well, at least, yeah, at least do that. Maybe put a Cavern of Souls in blue because it's like can't be countered. That's like a blue thing.
I think it's actually more of a green thing.
Well, you can send people who bought this a Cavern of Souls. I'm happy with that.
Would you rather having the Soul Ring Command Tower or other like small little throwaway green cards?
I'd rather.
I don't want throwaway green cards. I want good green cards. I just want them to all be green.
Yeah, I want them.
But obviously, they're having some lower value cards in there, right?
I guess, but like I would rather it be on theme. I guess if we're talking about like staple, colored cards, like I want them to be green, right? It's called Commander Collection Green, and Soul Ring is a colorless card, and Command Tower is like a colorless land, but of course can tap for any color of your commander's identity. And like,
yeah, I mean, I'd rather have like a Concordant Crossroads in here, and maybe what's another expensive green card that's kind of. You can throw it in any.
Can't have any more expensive ones. All the value's there. Come on.
The value is there, and that's what I'm talking about. Like the value is there. This is a great product.
So what if we like replace the Command Tower with like a Rampant Growth or something? Is that better?
No, that's not better.
Okay.
No, the Command Tower is nice. And
it's on theme now.
Yeah, it is on theme. Maybe not a Command Tower, not a Rampant Growth, but a Nature's Lore
or 3 visits.
3 visits.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
That'd be cool.
I think 3 visits is better. Anyway, it's a very, very interesting to talk about, in any case. Anyways, we're going to bring this episode to a close. This has been a bit of a longer one. So those of you that are still listening as we begin this new year of Magic, 2020 was a rough one, like we mentioned at the top of this episode, but it looks like this year is going to be better, and hopefully all that want to get the COVID vaccine are able to get it, and we can get back to doing the things that we love, playing paper Magic at local events. For one thing, very much looking forward to that once I get the old needle in the arm. We know we say this every episode, but we really want to thank you for taking the time every week and listening to this show. I know that creating this show every week has really helped us get through this difficult time, and we hope it's had a similar effect on you. We're looking forward to doing our annual review episode next year, and until then, we'll be pumping it out, Magic-related content. So thanks again, and we appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you next week. Episode 99, bitches.
Woo! Kaldheim's coming.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, it's gonna be a Norse February. Let me tell you.
Yep.
Huh.
Norse.
I'm having a Norse dream. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you around.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye now.
Norse.
Get out of here.
Norse.
Bye.
Leave.
Norsey.
Turn 1 Soul Ring.
Eric went to get some water.
Oh yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah, he's a thirsty he's a thirsty boy.
He is a thirsty boy.